Hello everyone. We talked a bit on Discord about using Slink MIDI for drums, and I did a little experiment yesterday evening, and I figured I could show it to you to spark some ideas. It's a bit abstract, but let's have a listen. I will explain a bit what I've done in a bit, just so you see what it sounds like, basically. So everything is generative right now. The Slink, oh, not this one, not this sound, this sweeping thing. So like this, Slink is playing all of these. Put this down, it's only the kick. I don't know why this is still playing, but it's dying now. Yeah, now it's only the kick. Some hi-hat. Gonna increase the clock. Like that, it gets a bit wonky. You see, the higher color I have, the less emphasis there will be on the kick drum, which is the fundamental, right? Alright, so what's going on here? I'm gonna try to explain this in a way. So first of all, I changed the pitch to 1 octave, 12 steps. And I can kind of see here when it's playing. I'm sorry for that loud fucking wait. This one. Yeah. I don't want that to happen every time I press play. So I can see here where it is playing. So what I did was basically just pull the color down, and then I see that it's playing the kick here. So I just dragged my kick here, and then I introduced like the color. And then I see like when it starts to play that note, it's this one I think. Oh, here. And then I just put whatever sound I would like to have as the second most important sound, I put there. And then when these two were jamming, I just turn it up a bit more, introduce the third sound and see where that was down here. So then I just like, okay, what sound do I want to add as the third most important sound? And then basically what you get when you increase this color is like an arrangement. You can just basically take, automate this one over 3 minutes, and it would just like grow and gradually introduce sounds into the rhythm. I guess the downside with that, it can be a downside, is that the kick drum gets more and more sparse. So it could be to have a more stable foundation in the track. Maybe you can have the kick drum on a separate channel, and then do this generatively. I mean, this of course you could do whatever you want, but you could put this everything but the kick, or you can put a group of hi-hats or a group of you know what I mean. But it's pretty cool anyways. So basically that's what I did all the way up until this point. Yeah, but now we have this, so you see here here you see the rate of the clock now. You see it's flashing, it's going very fast. Click, 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 click. I want this like that maybe. And then we have all of these different divisions here. I don't know if you are aware of them, but if you see here, this one, when it has only an arrow, it means that when it goes above this line, and it samples, every time this flashes when we click play, it's a sample, bam, 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 bam. And if it has this arrow, it means that when it goes up and it gets sampled, it will only trigger once, and then it needs to go down below the line again before it can trigger. That gives a more sparse sort of rhythm. We can also use this repeating one, which means that when it's above here, it will trigger every time that this area is being sampled. So you see, like this one. Which one is that? This one? No. Yeah. So it's this one. See, it triggers several times. Doom, doom. And then we can give variation for every band, and then we can have the dividers here, which make it faster or slower, basically. So, like if I would increase this, it samples 4 times faster than the master clock. Yeah, so that's part of it. Now we're starting to build a more interesting thing, and then you can start like randomizing the divisions, randomizing these things, or whatever. I also increased the note length, and we will, yeah. Wait. Like now it's very short. And it's sort of calculating, the note length is calculated as a sort of equation between the position of this band and the band on the other tab. So in the beginning we had no, we did not have a separate, well, we did have 4 waves in the original Slink, but we found it's like the difference, like to have a 4th Slink wave that you can set yourself for track length, you couldn't really hear what you were doing. It didn't make much of a difference. So we decided to just make the length a sort of approximation between these two, and that sort of creates a third kind of phantom wave anyways. Yeah, so that was a trade-off in usability. And the same goes for the velocity. We had a wave for this as well. It was actually quite far into the development. We had a 3rd wave here for velocity. But we did the same there. So when, like, if this is high and the pitch one is low, they add them and split it in 2 basically, and that's the value for the velocity, more or less. And so if it's 26 here, it means that if it triggers down, both these waves are here at the same time, it will have 26 velocity. And if both are top at the same time, it will be 97 velocity. And then what I did for the kick drum, because what I felt was that when everything, because what happens is that if, let's say a band goes above the line here and it triggers multiple times, what happens is that you get this kind of increase or decrease in velocity where you go doon, 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 which is pretty cool, especially when it's moving, when some some of these bands are moving fast, you can get a very kind of human and organic sort of sound of an expression of the instruments. But I don't want that for the kick drum. Right? We don't want our kick drum to be like very irregular. So what I did was simply to go into the kick drum and into the controls here, and then you see here how basically the velocity should translate to the volume, and just put it down to 0, meaning that no matter what the velocity comes in, it will have the same volume all the time. And then you can of course change that for any sound, because some sounds maybe you want it to be more sensitive to the velocity, to have more variance, and you can kind of dial that in. It's a very nifty parameter to know about. And I guess that's it. I mean, for those of you who are completely unaware of how Slink works, then maybe you have been wondering all this whole time, what the fuck am I talking about? Sorry about that. I will explain it now, then briefly how it works. Yeah, so you have to have the trigger mode, which means that this area is triggering all of the dots that are available here according to the different modes here. I already explained what this means. It means that when it goes above here, it triggers once. And you see here, if you pull this down, you see, it flashes every time it triggers. And you see some of them aren't triggered when the flashes. That means that they have this mode because they trigger once, and then they move slowly here, and then there are multiple samplings happening, but they've already triggered once, so they need to exit before they will trigger it again. But this one, for instance, like if I change all of these to this, now you see all of them trigger every time. And you see some of them are triggering at different speeds. That's because you can set the divisions here for each band. So some of them can trigger faster, slower. You can even do like triplets. Yeah. And also slower. Yeah. And then there is this sine wavy icon, which means that as soon as the dot hits the line, it triggers once, only when it goes up. And that gives a more organic kind of feel, which is very interesting. I think I use it a lot when making melodies. It's more difficult to have it fit into arrangement because it won't be quantized unless you set it in a specific way, which is out of the scope of this video, I think. But I can at least show you what it sounds like. If we can increase the speed. And now, what is interesting with this setting though, is that the shape of the actual wave matters way more. Because the thing with these sampled settings is that they kind of they remove the Slink wave in a way, because you only know what happens at the time when it samples. So even if it crosses into it long before, it's not until here that it triggers, and that kind of breaks the Slink, or how do you say it, kind of truncates the shape of the wave down to a more simple form where things starting to trigger at the same time and stuff like that. But when you have the trigger on the line, then you're basically hearing the Slink wave as it is. And you will notice, I think now, let's see, I will try to change these parameters, and we will perhaps hear a clear difference in what's going on. And it will probably sound a bit chaotic, maybe not so good, I don't know. Or we will create the next Aphex Twin hit. Let's see if we do this. in the way that you can actually make it quantized is if you choose all of them. Now it's basically a step sequencer, dum 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 dum, and you can just like remove a dot here and there. It's basically a step sequencer now. And now it's free running, and you can of course just time it to your tempo. Now it's basically 130 BPM. And now it's very straight, and as soon as we change this wave, it's gonna start sound more broken. A tip when you're using this is to hold down Shift when you're changing these to get a more smooth change, because normally if you don't hold it, it gets a bit messy, like you get so much triggers, but if you hold Shift while you change it, it's a bit more smooth and pleasant to the ear. See, this is crazy, very experimental. And what we can do is we can clear all of them, and then if you press this one, you can of course toggle on and off any hair that you want. It doesn't make a huge difference which you choose here, because the thing is that I will explain now is that, okay, let's say we choose this band, and the thing is with this one is that it chooses a random band. So I click plus, it just chooses a random band, and I minus, and it minuses a random band. And then you can mix, then you kind of shuffle them around to a new random position. You can shift, and then you're sort of shifting them to the right. So if you have only one, shift them like this, which is also very interesting because you can trigger this one with a LFO or something like that, so that it kind of clicks this button. Then you can kind of create an interesting step sequencer with this, but that's also beyond the scope of this video. And then you can select all and clear. So let's just put like 2 of them, something like that. I just want to show you how the pitch thing works, because the thing is now here, when, let's see, for simplicity's sake, let's just have one band. Okay, here, this band number 1. So when this one triggers, boom, it will check here at what height this dot is, and that will decide what note to play. I wonder if I can show you the... There we go, perfect. Yeah, so I found this picture to show, because it's actually working quite ingeniously, this one. Because what it's basically doing, this color knob, it's scanning an array of pixels. So when it's at 0, let's say it's all black. When like at the top row, it's like 1 pixel row of just all black. And then when we increase it, we start to kind of scan through here. And this, as we scan through, we are sort of checking every pixel, like depending on what setting we are. Let's say we are at pixel row number 120. And then we check pixel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and count them. And eventually when we count here, like, okay, blah, 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 X pixels black, those are C. And then the next one is, let's say, F. And then this one is G, and this one is this one. And then as we increase this color, it scans through here, and as you see, it's changing the how do you say, the relationship, like the ratio between the different notes. And that looks like this if you increase it. You see? It even goes a bit up and down. You see the G goes down there, it goes up and then goes down. And this is done by ear. Alex Dorisbury made this by ear for what he thought sounded the best for each chord. It's not it's not scientific, it's not musically correct necessarily. I guess that's debatable. But the thing is, it's done with Alex ear, which I like a lot because I really love his ears. And that's, yeah, but now you know how it works. And, okay, so I'm digressing, but that's, you're probably used to that by now. But the thing is, like, this is what you're seeing here. So at this point, let's say, when it's half and half, it's almost as if, like, if it triggers here, it will have one note, and here one note, only that it's stacked for every octave. Like if we change the range, you see, it triggers across various octaves. So within this little range here, there is this, like, half is one note and half is another note. And here we have in the other octave, half is one note and half is the other note. So here, as it kind of like oscillates between all of these different octaves, it will trigger whatever note. But in this case, we only want it in one octave, so that we are keeping the triggers here, right? So every time it triggers at a C, it will trigger the kick drum. And you see here, if we increase the speed here, so there won't be any kick drums here. The kick drums are up here, so to say. And then we can increase the spread. Okay, that's. Basically now it's scanning through the whole spectrum, and depending on what setting we have here, like now it's equal weight, so this area is just split up in equally big parts. And then if we do it like this, then like a bit larger part will be around the C here. You can even see C3, so C is here, and then the other notes are here, and then like how big that area is depending on how big this little thing is. Yeah. That was tangent, I guess. But now you kind of get what I've been doing here. Let's see, just like we can add a few random ones. You can randomize these. But I don't like that one. Fast. And then we can mix them. So you kind of like try until we find something that we like. And we can reduce the spread. You see also here. You can sort of choose put it more around the C there. Actually I can't. But if I would want it straight, I would have to do it like something like this. And reduce it to C. You see now, if I put it like the one step and I put it right over C, it would only do the kick drum. But now it's one octave, so it's going through all of the different ones. Okay. So this is the track then. Or whatever it is. It's a bit chaotic if I have too many of the repeats. I wonder what it sounds like if I only have kick. I'll just put a 4/4. it's interesting to kind of keep the kick regular, but the rest more generative. But right now it's not sounding super interesting, I think. If we keep it very straight. Motherfucker. This is fucking stressing me out. Okay, whatever. Slink. What the fuck? Oh. I mean, this is a decent, like, whatever. That's rim shot, sort of. This is a rim shot, no? Yeah. No, snare. Maybe like a delay on it or something. Take some. What? Ah. Signal is usually cool. Let's just do some preset. Fuck's sake. Can I close that? I'm sorry, Ario. I will be right with you, my brother. now I'm just getting lost here. Sorry, I didn't plan to sit here and get stuck in this loop, but anyways, I hope you got some sort of inspiration for the video. Now I gotta answer Ariel's messages. Take care, everyone.